Hi everyone, welcome to a Christmas update on Blackwood. Now it's been about a month since I posted anything online, so in the last video I said I would be working on the area just to the immediate front of the arched road bridge, and that's exactly what I've been doing. So if I zoom in a little bit, I'll actually start off over at the line coming into the concrete depot. The first thing is that over there I have added in some more static grass. I've made it look a bit more overgrown, and I think that actually comes up really well. If we then come across from that, we have the first, I'll come out a little bit there, we have the first gap between the two lines there that go into the bay platform and the two lines that go into platforms 4 and 5. So again, I think I need to zoom out a little bit. I've done it again with static grass, bushes. Well, it's really overgrown, and on the other side again between the two outer lines, again it's been heavily sort of put in with bushes, etc., to make it look really overgrown. Also dumped some focuses. It's going out of focus. I think you should just be able to pick out. I'll come out. I'm going the wrong way. Hopefully you should be able to see it's focused there. Yep. Put down some redundant rail. And if we then come round here, we can also see that these sidings here have also been done with static grass, and at the same time we've also put a bit of fencing up between the sidings and the main running lines. And again, if I come back, you'll also see that we've got in some speed restriction signs there, and this keeps going out of focus. There we go, better. This one here, 15 miles an hour, and that's for the crossover in the main station between platforms 6 and 7. Again, if I come back round this way, apologies for the shaky hand. Again, as you can see, these two sidings really overgrown. I'll actually come out the way. Zoom out, gives you a better idea of what it actually looks like. So with that in mind, we've now got almost this entire area here finished off. Still a few more bits of detailing to be done. I don't think the layout's ever totally complete, but what I'll now do is I'll actually now turn round and show you from the other side. Okay, so from the other side of the bridge, you'll see here again, putting our speed restriction sign in here, 5 miles an hour going into the cement batching plant. And over on this side here, we have a 25 mile an hour restriction for this crossing here. And just coming down here, I come back, you'll actually see we have a new piece of locomotive equipment, and that's the Graham Farish Class 40, an absolutely superb runner. Ran it in yesterday, half an hour both ways. Very smooth runner, I have to say. The model actually comes, it's almost DCC fitted. It comes actually, it says in the instructions it's already got it's DCC ready for sound, and it seems to suggest there's actually a sound chip already in it, but then it says you've got to buy a speaker. Now this layout is not DCC, or it's not DCC yet, so it doesn't really make much difference to me, but yeah, superb locomotive that Farish have in actual fact built. Along with that, if I come down here, you'll also see There is an electric multiple unit that's now appeared, if I can actually get it in focus. London Midland. Again, this was a fairly new model a couple of years ago. I don't know whether it was a great seller. It was quite expensive. It was about £160, and that might have put a lot of people off. Farish are currently, Farish Hattons are currently selling it for about £80 odd, so it's about half price. Again, superb runner. Again, I ran that in yesterday. You'll notice that it does obviously have the pantograph, because it's an EMU. The pantograph is posable in one of two positions. It can either be down flat, clipped in, or you can have it extended to its full height. Now, one of the problems is when it's extended to the full height, it is really actually very high. In real life, if it was under the wires would probably be keeping the pantograph slightly lower. Now, I have about 5 bridges in this layout, and I knew that there would be no way that this pantograph would go under all the bridges, and I was proved right yesterday. The arched road bridge that we were looking at a few minutes ago, the bridge is too low, just like in the prototype. If the line was being electrified, the bridge would probably have to be demolished and rebuilt. But I have managed to come up with a solution to stop the pantograph from actually going up to its full height. The way the mechanism, I can't pick it out here, but the way the mechanism works, as the pantograph goes up, there is a corresponding, it's not a weight, but it's a small bit of plastic that goes down at the bottom of the pantograph fixing. So what I have done is I've cut a small piece of orange wire, about 3mm long, got a very small bit of blue tack in the bottom, and then slipped it in underneath the bottom of the pantograph mechanism, so that when I release the pantograph itself can't go up to its full height. So as a result, it still looks as though it's raised. I think in actual fact this wee bit there, sit there, hopefully that'll pick it up. So it is still raised, but more importantly, it goes underneath all the structures on the layout. So if at a later date I wanted to get some overhead catenary, I probably could, and it would look even obviously more realistic. So that's the second locomotive that has appeared on Blackwood, and I'll hopefully try to show that running in a little bit. Okay, the other thing I have been doing in the layout is constructing this last part of the road bridge that comes across all these tracks here. This part of the bridge is a skew bridge because it goes over the tracks at an angle, and to add a bit of added complication into it, the tracks themselves are also running at a slightly different angle. So I have managed to build the bridge. It's a scale scenes kit, but it's not, if you like, as it comes or as it gets printed off. The actual kit is actually increased in size, and the reason for that is the gap between these running lines here, in fact the gap between all the running lines, is a bespoke gap, and that's simply to accommodate the curves on this layout. If you look at an exhibition layout, what you'll normally find is the fiddle yard at the back, the lines to the front, which are all scenicked up, will probably have the prototypical gap between them, which is obviously the 6-foot gap. It's very narrow. The curves will be very gentle, so that when you've got large passenger coaches, there's not a massive overhang, and you can obviously have trains passing one another. This layout is slightly different in that it's a tail chaser, although there is a fiddle yard. The back end of the layout is scenicked up, and there are 2 running lines. Now, in order to get the trains to go right the way round, the curbs are not the tightest, they're not first or second radius, they're probably a mixture of third and fourth radius. And when I was laying the first part of the layout, I discovered that if I used the Pico track gauge and set the track in at the correct spacing, I couldn't, in actual fact, on the curvature that I was using, I couldn't get two Mark III coaches to pass one another without striking. So what I did was I came up with my own solution, and if I actually put this down here, you will see, pick that up properly, yep, you will see that's the normal Pico track gauge. So this side here, if it's turned around this way, that's for set track, and when it's round this way, that's supposed to be the standard 6 foot gap between the tracks. Now you'll notice in this one here there is a slight nick out one side, and that's because if I stick it in here onto the actual track, you'll see that I have actually widened all the tracks very, very slightly. So they're not as wide as set track, but they're not just quite as narrow as the actual standard prototypical track should be. And that's the same throughout the entire layout. All it means is that when I am constructing, if I come round here, if I pick up, where are we? Pick up the crossing here, all that actually happens is to maintain this bespoke gap, I actually have to put in a very, very small section of track between the points. So, as I say, it works on this layout. A lot of people might say, the purists might say, oh, that's a cardinal sin, but at the end of the day, it's my own layout, and it's what I've chosen to in actual fact do. So that means if I come back round here, the problem that means or presents me is that when I print these kits off, the kits are obviously designed to go over track that is properly spaced. So in this case here, as it's wider, the arches would not in actual fact span the two tracks. So in order to get around that, you need to size up the kit. In this case, it's printed off at 130%, which is large enough to span the two tracks. It doesn't, although it's engaged and low technically, it's out of scale. You really can't tell, but it doesn't matter. I think if I probably put it up to 200%, it then wouldn't look, the bricks on the paper would look obviously out of scale, but even at 130%, it still looks pretty much in scale. So it's a very, very simple, straightforward construction. I can take this off here. If I turn it up, in fact what I'll do is I'll take off the road bridge and turn it around this way and sit it like that. So all we've actually done here is printed off 4 portals, bridge portals, and then glued the abutment, if I turn it around this way, glued the abutment, come out a bit, yep, glue the abutment between the outer spans, and then to get the curvature, I was actually quite sneaky to get the curvature. I was actually doing a bit of Christmas wrapping, and the tube at the end of the Christmas paper roll is actually thin cardboard, and by the shape of it, it's actually naturally curled. So all I had to do was actually cut a piece, fit it in to, on the underneath of these 4 struts here, just weight it down till it glued, then get a very sharp craft knife, trimmed it at both ends, any overhang, and then simply covered it with brick paper inside. On this side here, if it picks up, you'll see there's actually some graffiti. It sits obviously against the other bridge, and the road section simply sits in on the top like that. As you can see, we've still to put up the abutments here. That will actually cover the join between this bridge here and this part here, and obviously there'll be a scenic board along the back there. And then once that's done, we just need to put in the parapet wall and again extend the footpaths along and the white lines, and that will be in actual fact built. So if I can come back, hopefully that will give you an idea of what this bridge actually looks like. So it's spanning 8 lines, and we've actually got 3 separate bridges. So we've got the scale scenes on the left hand side, we've got the scale scenes bridge spanning these 2 lines. Then I have my own bespoke girder bridge spanning the 4 lines there, and then we're back to another scale scenes kit here spanning these 2 relief lines over at the right hand side. But I think when you stand back, it looks actually pretty good. Obviously at the moment what I'm working on is these tracks here, these 2 tracks on the outer right hand side. They've now been painted. There's a bit more painting to be done, a small amount of painting to be done, a bit of dry brushing to be done just to tone down the sleepers, and then the ballast will be extended along to the actual bridge. We'll obviously finish the bridge off, and then we'll get the bridge actually fixed in, and that will mean that this area between the bridge that you see down there and the bridge down here is more or less finished. There's not a lot more to do. Once that's done, it then will allow me to then concentrate on the far side of that bridge there that we're looking at. I originally started over there. There's a bit of scenic work has been done, but as you can see, most of the tracks over there aren't even ballasted yet, so they still need to be painted. So that's where the efforts will be going in, probably in the first part of 2018. So anyway, what I will now do is I think I'll run one of the new trains. Anyway, thanks for watching, and speak to you all soon. Cheers, thanks.